It's like a pizza crunch without the batter. It's like the wood juice without the water. You'll never get the knickers I've heard. What a fucking chance. Premeditated batter. Premeditated batter. Hello, how we doing, patrons? It is good to see you, man. Good to be here, man. Good to be uploading an episode just for you especially. Fuck the rest of the fucking tight cunts, huh? Nah, jokes. But I had a recommendation to do a Sesh special. Aye, so I'm going to tell you some tales for some of the mad ones I've been on. I'm sure it was Devlin that suggested this, so shout out Devlin, you're a genius in the making. Obviously, I'm going to make you the genius by bringing the content to life. But, I've been through some fucking mad ones in my life. Some mental mad ones. As everybody probably knows, I'm actually abstinent now. That was a long time coming. You know what I mean? I started when I was about... I had my first drink when I was like 14. So it was like a 2 litre of Pulse. I remember it pure laced with blackcurrant. And I drank it. Drank the full thing and just blacked out. Didn't remember a thing. Remembered some cunt stoning my neck at one point. See that way, pure falling about, getting wide with cunts. I was generally quite quiet when I was younger, when I was kicking about. So when I got a drinking, I was like, fucking fuck you, I didn't fucking know. So I came out my shell definitely, man, but I was paralytic, sleeping in fields, and I'm sure we've all tan too much booze, and the first time we're drinking and they've ended up sleeping in a field. But I ended up comatose, man, and then getting home, waiting into a bucket and all that, man. Oh my god, I was fucked. And I was like, never again. I'm not doing that shit. Fuck that. So I didn't drink for a good period after that, man. I had wee brief spells where I would go and do my own thing. I'd get into boxing and all that. So I would go like fucking periods for like a year. I was like, I'm not going to drink. So when I was kicking about, when you're at that age and you're kicking about the schemes, especially with all the young team and all that, man, they're fucking, fuck you, don't drink, you're a fucking weirdo. And I was seen as a bit of a weirdo. Maybe I was a bit of a weirdo in some respects, man, but that definitely added to my weirdo CV, no drinking, man, but I preferred it, man. But it's a bit of a... When you're going about, it's like probably like that now. No, it's bad now, but when you're kicking about and the cunts are all getting mad weight, doing mad weight shit when you're younger and you're sober there, you're kind of like, I'm not want to go and smash that window. No, I don't want to go for a gang fight. I'm kind of alright, you know what I mean? But eventually, I remember I was about 15. I just see you get that mad fucking... I think impulse, like fucking, it was like a Wednesday. So I'm going to get on it the weekend. Going to get a drink. Fucking, I'm just going to get a drink with every cunt, man. And I think it was last Sunday I went out. It was pure piss and rain. It was not the environment you would expect to go and get on it like yes. It's not if it was a hot sunny day and there was hundreds of birds about and you were all the troops were out. Nah, it was piss and rain. I think it might have been a Sunday. I went and chapped my pal's door and I got a bottle of wine, got a bottle of Bucky. And I had that while I was drinking it. We sat at his back door. We didn't even sit outside the back. We sat at his kitchen, was one of the ones the door opened into the back. So we sat at his kitchen door with the door open. This is how fucking pish it was, man. And I sat and I drank this bottle of wine and I was sitting drinking it, and because obviously my last voyage into getting on it ended up in fucking me or Eric camp, I was like, fucking hope it doesn't happen again. And I threw my I think it was like 3 years on. Like, you better not end up pure paralytic, man. I'm not looking after you. And I'm like, will I get paralytic? I don't know if I'm one of the mad paralytic steamers. So I drank it, and see, that was the thing. As I say, I was naturally quite reserved when I was younger than that, man. It helped me come out my shell a bit, and I was able to get a laugh and all that. And cunts like, you're some buzz and all that. And then from then on, that's when I was kind of like that. I started drinking at the weekends and that. Obviously, when you're fucking at that age, you'll drink whenever any cunt is on it. Fucking Tuesdays and all that. Tuesdays and Fridays, they were my time to be alive. But when I was about 16, because remember, I used to go, I'd go for periods, I'd go like a year, I'd fucking stop talking to every cunt, go away and do something, hang about, sit in my fucking house for about a year, doing nothing. And then I end up, I remember the first time I took Eckies. My pal had, this is another thing, these always mad random thoughts used to fucking grasp me like during the week. It used to be like fucking, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm going to get full of eckies this weekend. And I'd been off it. Hadn't took eckies in my life. And just like, it was just a thought. And my pal was selling them at the time. It was white love hearts of like £2 a whip. He might have given me 6 for a tenner. So I was like, fuck it, just give the 6. I see, thinking back now, I'm like, I never took eckies. I thought, I'll take some eckies this weekend, give 6. And I hadn't hung about with my pals at the time for a while at that point, so I just went, it was one of them, I just turned up and chapped some cunts door and says, give 6 eckies. It was pretty much like that. And it was my first time taking eckies, man, and took it, if I annoyed you tonight, fucking one of the ones. And it was pissing the rain, the weather was fucking shite. Standard, man, I always seem to get these notions, maybe it's the shite weather that pushes me to substance abuse, who knows. But I remember that, and it was fucking, I ended up gubbing all the eckies, and I suppose that was kind of an indication in what my life with substances would entail. Like, for instance, when I drank the 2 litre of cider, that was the first drink I ever had, I fucking scalped it. The eckies, I got one, I gubbed them all. Not in the one, but progressively during the night. And fucking wrecked out my box, man. And I remember, and I was just that way out my nut, man. And don't get me wrong, it was good. I think, you know what I mean? It was like, how good is just kicking a bit of street out your nut and swedgers? You know what I mean? At the time, I suppose, I was fucking brilliant, but it was shite. But the next day, I remember, I felt as if I went fucking 20 rounds with Tyson, man. My jaw was fucking killing us. But that became my thing. I ended up becoming like, right, every time I got on it, I'll get some eckies, man. I pure loved eckies. I just loved the swedge. I remember taking a line of Charlie one night. Somebody gave me a line of gear. Because all the older ones, they were sniffing gear. And I was enjoying my eckies, and they were like, right, you got a line? And I took it, man. I was like, why do cunts take that? It's pish. It never done anything for me. Fuck's sake, was it stayed that way? But I remember one night I was full of ecto and just stoating about fucking fleeing at my box, and somebody gave me like a blue lightning, like half a blue lightning, and tap a whatever the fucking cocktail was I took it for. And I was out my bush that way. I was visibly fucking fleeing at my box. Like, cunts like, fucking, you alright? One of the ones, cunts try to freak you out and that. And I went to stay with my pal that night. And I was fucking wildly out my box. And I remember, see that way, I felt as if I'd got up to the toilet. See, it was like in a dream, I went to the toilet. And I was doing a pish. And then I just kind of came to. And it was like I'd been sleepwalking or something. I fucking woke up and I heard his ma shouting, "Who's that?" His ma was sleeping in the couch in the living room. Like, who the fuck's that? And I looked down and I was pissing on his doormat at his front door. And I was just like, ah, shit. And then I just stopped pissing and just walked back to the room, went to bed, purely just try to hope that she must have been fucking sleepwalking or sleep talking and all and didn't realise. And fair play to her, the next day she was like, I think one of these must have spilt a drink on the way back in on the carpet. And I was like, you're a fucking legend, man. So I was fucked the next day, man. But that became the kind of the staple. Never really touched gear. I think the next time I took gear after that, I ended up stabbing fuck it or something. So, moral of the story is, I shouldn't have took gear. But I remember one night years later, so I ended up fucking descending into this mad fucking, as soon as I took gear, so I done a sentence in the jail. I've covered that in many fucking other podcasts. I'm not fucking stopped talking about it, man. After I got out of the jail, I done 4.5 years. I got out when I was 20, and I just drank, so I was like, eckies were gone by this point. This was like 2013. When I was taking eckies, it was like 2009. So when I got out, man, it was just every cunt was taking gear, and it was council, but it wasn't called council. It was before that had the names, but it was just gear, £20 a gram, fucking talc. And I remember the first night I ended up taking it. Obviously, you're surrounded by cunts. Just take a line. You're only going to be so sober enough to say no if you go, fucking excuse man. I took one night and I was like, off. And I felt a charge off it. A charge off council, fuck's sake, man. I need to fucking smoke crack to get the same done these days. But I can't really remember when I started taking ching. Like, to the point where it became a regular thing. Bars. But I remember like, one night And this was my first kind of ching binge. Ching binge, aye. I thought I'd said that weird there. And I think we got like 3 gram of Kunsu or something early period of the night, and I was fucking out my box. And the next day, my nostrils were all burnt. See that way? And I was like, I'm never touching that again. Because I hadn't really took it. So I was a pure novice to it. Fucking you cunt, man. It'll be like a volcano in there now. Fuck's sake. And but I remember saying I'm never doing that again after it. And quite obviously, as fucking my content is revealed, that was not the last time I took it. But it was just a weekend thing. And then it ended up spiraling out of control, man. As the years went by, the weekends fucking didn't end. It was like getting 4 days and all that, man. And fucking, I was never out at, there was a place I was always a regular goer of, was called the Dumbreck Dungeon. Right, it's a flat in Dumbreck. I'm not going to name the boy whose house it was. I was quite pal of him, and he's Celt gear. So I was always up his house every weekend, like Friday to fucking Monday, religiously, man. And see, thinking back, right? See when you go on like a mad 3-day bender and you don't leave the one room, like, to the point where you would just leave if you were going to get more bevy. Like, and I remember, he never had curtains, he never had blinds. So anybody knows that when you're on it, and it's getting into the next day, there's the lights coming in, it's soul destroying. So he never had curtains or blinds. So I remember, this is the epitome of fucking being in a crack then, right? I remember he's a joiner, right? So we ended up getting fucking bed sheets, right? And we got a hammer, and we get nails, and we hammered bed sheets at the top of the windows so it would block out the light. Fucking hell, man. It was like, it would be rude to call it a crack den, because calling it a crack den would suggest we had crack. We just had a den. But fucking this place was mental. This was like all the most random cunts would end up in it. And I remember one night I ended up in it, right? It was a mad one. It was cunts for all the camp, cunts for across the landing, cunts for Govan, cunts for fucking everywhere was in this gaff. It was bouncing. And fucking quite irregular of me, I ended up crashing out. And I remember waking up, and it was like the Sunday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. And see that way you just wake up, you're like, fucking hell, man. But every cunt was still strongly on it. So I woke up like that. Oh, fuck it. Sunday sesh, man. So I was like, I'm getting back on it. See that way, the energy was still quite high. So I ended up fucking pouring myself a very strong vodka and coke. I used to pour, like, mate, this was like Tenerife holiday vodkas, this shit, man. This would put you in your ass. I was like, fucking vodka. Big fucking, like, half a fucking pint glass of vodka and the other half with coke. Another quarter with coke and another quarter with ice. But that's what I got and started walling it. And within about 5 minutes of me waking up, right? Boo, 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 boo. Door starts banging. How the fuck's that? Fucking police at the door. So we're like that. Oh, mad wait, like that. Fuck off. Locking the door and all that. And they're like, open the door and all that shit. I'm like, get to fuck. There's about fucking sixes behind the door. Like, fuck off, you pricks. So they start fucking rattling the letterbox. So bearing in mind, right, the boy whose house it was, and there was another boy there, they had went to bowling the night before and took their wains with them. So this is before I ended up meeting up with them later. They went back to his house and took the wains with him, put the wains to bed and got on it, and a few cunts ended up there on it. So by the next day, the wains are still in the room. The wains are still in the room at this point when these cotters have turned up at the door. They might have been sleeping, but the boy whose house it was, one of his wains is in the room. He's like, mate, my fucking daughter's in that room, get to fuck. And the cunt just rattled the door, see the letterbox go, tss, tss, tss. And then, so he's getting wide like that, you get to fuck for the door and that. So the coppers have started trying to kick the door in, and right, and as far as I was concerned, right, it was because of the music. That's why I thought the coppers were at the door. So when they started trying to kick the door in, we've all started barricading the door. And I'm like, this isn't fucking happening. They're no kicking a door in because of loud music. Fucking bams or that, because I was a wee bit, I was obviously still fucking half cut the night before then. It just, that fucking double half vodka and coke fucking reinvigorated it. And I was like, I better get to fuck. So, they've been kicking the door, trying to put the door in, and we're all barricading this pure human shield behind the door. And eventually, the boy who just went like, fuck it, watch, get out the road. And we jumped back for the door, and he's went and opened the door, obviously to confront the police. But as he's opened the door, I flew out, like, get to fuck, and I've put my horn out like that, and the two cops there, one just grabbed us and pulled us, and fucking dragged us to the ground. So the two of them had a hold of my arms, so I'm fucking like that, get to fuck, ya bastards. And we're like, fucking doing a fucking jiu-jitsu roll in the fucking closed flare. I'm like, these cunts are trying to pin us down, and I'm like, bastards. And they've eventually gotten tappy me and like pinned me down, the two of them. So they've ended up radioing for backup, and literally within minutes, it wasn't even minutes, the close, it is like one of the closest, so it's like a kind of narrow corridor, and the doors are across from each other. So it's no like a spacious close, it's just like a corridor. And within minutes, the close just filled with coppers. There was about 30 of them, man. They just piled in. So they've came, and a couple of them have helped the cunts pinning me down. The rest have piled in the house. So I've ended up getting the leg restraints pulled on us. See the fucking big Velcro straps? They've pulled them on us, my legs and that, then pulled us up, stood us up, and then went like that, walk. So I've tried to walk, but bear in mind, my legs are stuck together like this. So I'm falling into the one, they're like, stand up, and I'm like, I can't fucking stand up, but my fucking legs are tied, you fucking idiots. So I'm like, listen, just take them off and I'll walk. So eventually they've took them off, and they've led us out the close, and obviously, and see, there was that many police. The police were lined up, like, down the close, so on each side of the wall there was a police, and they just lined up. It was mental. So I've got taken outside, taken into the lift. It was a living up, mind you, in a high-rise. I've got taken into the lift. I'm giving them pelters on the way down, like, you fucking bams, rats and all that. And I've got taken outside the flat, and I swear to God, there was police vans everywhere, fucking everywhere. And I get walked to the van, and then we go to the back door of the van, and none of them had the key. So I'm like, you fucking pure peasants, man. Yous are pure bams and all that. And they're like, shut up. And all that, it was pure venom. So I get put in the back of the van, and they're like, right, they're like, right, we'll take him to Baird Street. I can't remember why they were taking me to Baird Street. There was something going on. They were to go to Baird Street or something like that. Then they started going, and I think they went in the motorway. Then they had to do a U-turn and go to Heron Street or something. It was weird. They were taking me one place, then they had to take me to another. So I was on the way there, and then they had to do the U-turn. So I'm my face right up at the mad glass, the mad plastic shit, like, trying to find a gap so I can slaughter them. Like, yeah, fucking idiots, man. Yous are fucking clueless and all that. Slaughtering them. And they've took us to fucking Heron Street. Took us out the back of the van and walked us into the reception and all that, man. Like, he's getting charged with police assault and all that. Man, fucking no bother. And obviously the guy behind the desk, they're usually a bit more laid back, they cunts, because obviously they're no fucking dealing with all the shit. So he's like, right, ask me the questions, what's your name, all my details and that. And once he asked me all my details, I was like, right, is that you asked your questions? And he's like, I was like, right, I hereby invoke my right to remain silent. And fucking, see, pure making a pure fucking spiel of it. And the guy was like, right, that's fine, just make sure if you need any water, just you're still using your right to remain silent. And the cunt was just pure prep for it. So I get led to the cell, get put in it, and I was working at the time. I was doing groundsworks, so I was due to be back at work on the Monday. So I get taken to the cell, and I was just like, right, I'll get a sleep in here and I'll get out, I'll go to work on Monday. Because I was under the impression I had to get out. I didn't think it would have get any worse. So I get taken to the cell, I end up obviously mad with it, went for a kip, and I get woken up, and it was CID, see, like, fucking with the suits and all that. And they're like, we want your clays. I was like, you're not getting my clays. Like, we need to take it for evidence. We're taking your clays. And they're like, you kidding me on? And like, no, I was like, for a police assault. And he's like, fucking, listen, give your clays. And they're going, no, what, fucking take your clays, you tramps and all that. So they gave us one of the mad grey jogging suits and a pair of sand shoes. So they gave us that, and I'm like, no bother, fuck's sake. So bear in mind, I'm still under the impression I'm getting it. I'm walking out that police station that night. So eventually I went into the next morning, the Monday morning, and they've opened my door. I'm like, right, that's you. And I'm like, right, here we go. And I've walked out. And I've got round to the desk. And I've turned round and I've seen like a G4S, like Reliance cunt, with the horn cuff. And I'm like, am I got a court? Like, aye. And I'm like, no, what? Let's just go to fucking court then. Let's go to court. And that was me. It set me off again, right? So that was me offing one. Fucking. But I'd sobered up at this point, but I was still kind of like, you fucking pricks. And I fucking hate this mic stand. 2 seconds. This is probably why this is so slack. That's probably better. So they've took us in the bus, took us to court and that. I've got to court. If anybody's ever been to like Glasgow Sheriff Court or any kind of court, if you get taken in the bus, a big white bus where you're locked in these fucking things that are the size of a cupboard, and you get taken there. You get taken like through the kind of underground. No, it's no underground. It's like kind of like the basement. You're taken in the bus, and then they take you in through the desk. They check you in and all that kind of stuff. Then they put you in a cell, and they put you in a cell with 5 other people. So it's a 6-man cell. It's the 6 men in the cell. Don't know if it's meant to be a 6-man cell because it's fucking cramped. So I was in there, right, and I get put in the cell, and then I noticed one of the boy whose house it was, he walked by me with a screw. I was like, the fuck were you in here for? And then fucking one of the other boys who was in the house, he get put in the cell with me. I was like, what's going on here? So what had transpired, right? So when I've been arrested and pulled out this house, restrained and that, see when I've been taken away from the flat, the police have piled into the house, right? And in Dunbrec, it's flats, right? So when you come in the door of the house, you're on the upper level. So you've got the toilet and you've got the bedroom. Then you've got a set of stairs going down where the other bedroom is, the living room, and the kitchen is. So it's quite a strange layout. So they've piled in the house, right? There's been police that have ran down the stairs, and one of the boys is picked up an iron, and the first copper that ran through the door, he got attacked with an iron, smashed his face in with this iron, and then the boy has ran into the bedroom. He's ran into the bedroom, pulled the door shut, and then this is a living up mind, so he's pulled open the veranda door, and he's launched the iron off the veranda. He's then pulled his trousers down to his bare arse cheeks and starfished the bed, hoping to pretend that if they ran in, he would have looked as if he was sleeping. Cotters obviously just ran in and fucking ragdolled him, fucking jailed him. And so, apparently, when the police went to retrieve the iron for evidence, they found 2.5 ounces of white cocaine that somebody had flung out the adjacent kitchen window. So, when I was in court, these cunts were in for this. This all happened as I was away. I was gone and this all happened. And there was another boy there that got done for like a breach of the peace. I think he was like fucking singing songs and some shit like that. So by the time we've all been in court, there was 4 people for that house that was in court. Right? So he was telling me this story and I was like, you're fucked, man. Laughing because I'm like, this is nothing to do with me. I wasn't there as such. And I remember so for anybody that doesn't know, when you're in like the sheriff court, mace courts in Scotland, when you're in for like an hour, 2 hours, you get your charge sheet. So you'll get a sheet saying basically what the evidence is against you, what the police have said in their statement, what the charge is. For a summary case, and what a summary case is, that's the punishment is up to 12 months. That's deemed a less serious case, that's dealt with by a sheriff. it's mainly reserved for like breach of the peace, common assault and that kind of thing. So when everybody in the cell have been given their charge sheets, me and the boy for the flat never got one. I'm like, what's happening with this? And they're like, we don't know. So eventually the guys came round with a sheet and it was an indictment. So in an indictment, as opposed to a summary, an indictment can carry up to a maximum of 5 years. If that goes to trial, it's dealt with sheriff and jury. It's a longer process because it's reserved for more serious charges. So we get given indictments, and he was like, you're in the petition court. So you get open court, where the summary cases will get heard, the bail hearings will get heard. In the petition court, that's like the indictment court. So if you get told you're in the petition court, you've got an indictment. So when you're charged with like a serious offence in Scotland, that will generally be dealt with in the petition court, and you'll be on an indictment as opposed to a summary charge. So when the guy came round, the screw, he says to us, "You're in the petition court." I was like, wait a fucking minute here, what? And he handed us our indictments or our charge sheets. It wasn't our indictments at the time. You get your indictment further down the line. But we got the charge, and it was basically saying it was a petition charge in the petition court. And the charge was a serious assault against the police officer. The charge was a serious assault against a police officer. There was an assault to injury on a post. Apparently one came through the door and got hit in the horn with something. And one came through the door and get hit in the horn with something. I was charged with, it was like Police and Fire Reform Act or some shit like that. It's basically a breach of the peace against the police. And the guy, the other boy, he was charged with like a British, the Police and Fire Reform Act as well. It was basically a breach of the peace, right? So I was like, wait a fucking minute here. We were all co-accused, so I was on this fucking indictment with him, which means I was on an indictment, a more serious charge, because just because I was done with what would be deemed like a less serious offence, because I'm co-accused with him, I'm in an indictment court, so I'm on an indictment charge basically, even though it's not really a serious charge. So that meant I could get longer than 12 months. But as far as I was concerned, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? So I've seen my lawyer and that, man, and we get taken into the court. And the boy who done the post with the iron, he get bail instantly. He didn't have any previous. And he fucking got out. The boy, it was done with, eventually get done with the Charlie and assaulting the other post. He get bail and all. So they two went in before us, and we're like that, robbing our horns, like, right, if they're getting bail for that, we're getting out surely. And the boy that was charged with the Police and Fire Reform Act alongside me, he went in. And when he came back out, he's like, I've my bail get opposed, I get remanded. And I'm like, fuck. So I was still on licence at this time for my 4.5 year employment. I still had like 12 months of my licence left at this point. So I was like, it's not looking good, bruv. And so I've ended up clearly getting remanded because I was in licence. And I went first time up Barlinnie, went up there, man. And I was like, no way, because I'd always say to myself, I'm never going back to the jail after that, because it's 4.5 years. It's not the most longest sentence you can do, but it's still pretty fucking long, especially when you're doing it for 17. You know what I mean? So I was like, fuck this for a laugh. It's a waste of your life in jail anyway, man. Don't any cunt tell you otherwise. So I went up there and I'm like, back to this pish, and Barlinnie is like getting back to the 1980s. It is fucking horrific, man. It is so bad. And so back to that routine. Because my co-accused, the guy, so he'd been granted bail by the judge, but the PF, the prosecutor fiscal, who basically prosecutes you, they opposed it. So what that means is, though, they have to provide evidence to support why they're opposing your bail within 48 hours of opposing bail. So within 48 hours, they hadn't provided sufficient evidence. So he get granted bail, he get let out. So it was just me. And I was kind of like that to myself. Don't get me wrong, he didn't really do much either, but I'm like, wait a minute, I'm getting heavy shafted here. How the fuck am I in here? And but it was like, see, for an indictment charge, you get what's called like an 8-day lie down. So you basically go to jail for 8 days on remand, and then you go back up and you apply for bail again. If you don't get bail, you get fully committed, which is 140 days until your trial. So I went back up, get fully committed. I was like, right. After you get fully committed, there's one more way you can get bail. You can apply for high court bail, where you apply to the high court, and they can decide to like grant you bail. So I remember I was doing the church. It was like a week after I'd been fully committed. There was a thing called Tough Talks. It was these two mad powerlifters were in, and they would come in. What they like, powerlifters? They used to be like fucking hard men. They used to be like door men and all that. But they fun God, and they lift weights and do squats in front of fucking cons and talk about Jesus. Fair play to them, man. The cunts are fucking strong. So it was during that, right? And I was sitting, and one of the screws shouted like my name, Robertson. I was like, aye. And they're like, kind of hanging there. And like, you've got bail. And I'm like, you're fucking joking. I'm like, can I swear in here's a church? So that was me, because that's with high court bail. You just get told you're out, and you get let out. So that was me. I was kind of like that. People were looking at us, and I was like, let's see his letter. And I walked out of there. And I was kind of like, thank fuck, man. Fucking thank fuck I'm out. And fucking, I got out and that, man. And obviously, it was just trying to fucking pick up for what the fuck happened there. See, because I'd went in the jail, when you go in, you get kind of cut off for cunts. And get back out. And I was out for like 5 weeks. And because I wasn't licensed at the time, my social worker recommended that I get recalled. So I get back out for 5 weeks and get recalled. And see, the thing is, see, if I was stayed in remand, we would have went to court after like 5 months. It wouldn't have lasted longer than a few months, maybe, on remand. But because we were all granted bail, that means you don't go to court for like a year if you're out in bail. So when I get recalled, that meant I was recalled for this charge that wouldn't go to court for like a year. And I only had like 11 months left of my recall, so it was pretty much, I was doing this recall and having to fucking wait in this case. So 11 months I done for that, man. Went up to court like 3 weeks before I was meant to get out. So I had to sit this sentence like that. I don't know if I'm getting out, because at the time it came to go to court, I could have got a sentence and get it added on, which I would have got it added on if I got a sentence, because it was at the end of my sentence. It couldn't have ran concurrently. So concurrently would mean it would start the day you get it. Consecutively would mean it would start when my original sentence ended. But I went up to court 3 weeks before my sentence ended, so it would have started then. And they managed to get a plea deal with the two boys, the one that was done with the gear and the one that done the post with iron. They pled to it, and me and the other boy, we get a not guilty plea accepted, which was very strange, because the day before, so this was 3 weeks before I was meant to go out, the day before I was actually meant to get taken to court, we were at court, and the G4S never took me to court. There must have been a mistake. And I got a hold of my lawyer, and he was like, they're just going to bring you down tomorrow, because this happens. And the next day I went down, and my lawyer managed to talk to the PF and convinced them to offer a deal, which I would get off it. But see, the day before, it was a different PF, and that PF wasn't letting me get a not guilty. Like, I entered a not guilty plea. That PF for the day before was wanting me to plead to it. So the fact there was a mess up with the G4S bringing me down basically got me off with it. It didn't get me off, but it did to a degree, because they weren't giving me a deal one day, but that was the day there was a mistake in bringing me down. So I was definitely getting looked after that day. But that was a fucking session that definitely went tits up, man. I'd like to say I learned my lesson for that, but I certainly didn't. Did I? Fuck, man. I was back taking gear the day I got out. The day I got out, I was out a couple of hours, and I was with a boy, and he sold it. We ended up going for a few pints, and then obviously he's getting the corners out and all that, man. And that, I just kind of set the standard, man. So that was me. It was just fucking living for the weekends, back to it, same pish, fucking Monday clubbing it, man, just on it, at that point, the Eckies were kind of back in fashion. So it was Eckies and it was prop, because Kunso had disappeared. I was a Kunso killer, man. You know what I mean? But Kunso was gone. The 50-50 was pretty much gone. It was just prop everywhere, and it was wild, man. I'd like to say, they were great times. They weren't really. At the time, it was good, but looking back, man, it was stinking, man. I remember one time, I'm not going to mention whose house it was, but ended up I was back at this house. Like, I was going to see one of my friends perform in the town, and after it we all went to walkabout, and we ended up just going back to his house. Him and his missus obviously had the house together. We went back to it, and we were all sitting getting mad with it. Then he's came in. He's like, right, everybody, they can't start their shite, but Pal Natini's coming down here. Like, shut up. He's like, Pal Natini's coming to this house tonight. Like, no, he's not. But he fucking is. Lo and behold, Paolo Nutini turned up. Mad Paolo, what a guy. Shout out Paolo Nutini, man. Fucking ended up getting mad with Mad Paolo. Pure typical Paisley cunt. I went to see him at Bella Houston the year before. That's just 2016. So it might have been 2015, 2014. I'd like to say I paid money. My mom got his tickets. Somebody paid money to see him, and I seen him. And then it was weird. I was sitting in like a living room in fucking Des Moines getting on it with him. But what a Sesh head he was. He was hoffing eckies. We couldn't never put his on his pocket once. So fucking definitely say that, bastard. I had the Charlie that night, and I was tuning him in. So he was obviously my pal. See, to be honest, I've done it myself. I can't. So it'd be terrible. But if you don't believe me, we actually done. People remember the mannequin challenge, where everybody would sit. You would put on you'd video it, and then you'd put. Bless me. So the mannequin challenge, you would video everybody, but you'd all stand still in these mad poses, and you'd look like a mannequin. It was like a pure thing. It was a trend at the time. And I was in a house party the week before it, and we tried to do it, and something had happened. It got deleted off somebody's phone. So I was like, this is the moment, we need to do it. And we done it. Will Paolo, fucking full team is. And it ended up in the paper. So if you disbelieve this story, type in Paolo Nutini mannequin challenge in Google and look for the bulging, and guess what I'm holding? A guitar. Standard. But it ended up, after that, man, it's like, that's when it just started to spiral. It just made my getting on. It was mental, man. The days were turning into fucking weeks. Oh, it was fucking hammering it big time, and I just ended up a pure everyday punter, because I was punting it and all. I ended up getting to a point I was trying to sell gear. So I stayed off it like one weekend, and I was like, okay, I'm off it now. I can punt. I'll make money. I know every cunt that takes gear because I've took it with them. So don't get me wrong, I stayed off it for 2 weekends, and if I continued to do that, I would have stayed off it. But I did not. I ended up fucking getting on it and then smashing it, and then that's when I started sitting sniffing myself. Started getting to a point I was sitting in my house and just sniff gear, fucking wanking myself into oblivion. That was never good, but naturally, I was out for 4-day weekends and all that, because I had an endless supply of it, and whoever I'm with, like, just batter in, help yourself and all that kind of thing, man. And it was just constant, man. And I remember one time I went on like this 5-day bender, so this was like a Friday to a Wednesday. I remember I ended up in this boy's house, and let's just call him Mal. That's not his real name. And Stug, Mal and Stug, right? So I was with these two boys, and it ended up, this was, I think it might have been a Sunday when I went up there, because that was standard. You just went up places on a Sunday. And I went up on the Sunday, and it was getting we're getting on and getting full of eckies, fucking, these mad eckies. It was like yellow teardrops, they get called. They were basically described as eckies dipped in acid. You ever heard that description before? I think that's a lot of shit. I don't think that's a thing. I think that's just something to describe the feeling, but these were trippy as fuck, these eckies, but you were out your bush, but colours would change and all that. They were mental. And ended up in a bit of a mad one with them. And I crashed out at some point, and this might have been getting into like the Tuesday. Was this the Monday night getting into the Tuesday morning? I don't know. It was a blur. And I remember like that, man, fucking waking up like that. And they'd got a pizza, because I think they were planning on calling it quits and all. And I was like, I'm going to get back on it, man. Let's get back on it. We've ended up getting back on it, and there was this guy they knew that would do drop-offs. They would just send the number as such, or they'd phone the number, then he'd had everything. He'd like gear, he'd eckies, he'd fucking kit, you name it, this cunt had it. But he had drivers, so you would contact this guy and he would send the driver. So I think we ordered like a gram of prop and 5 eckies or something. So it was 5 eckies, and it wasn't these teardrops at the time. It was these, they looked like wee shields. They were quite chunky, right? They were quite big. And we got them dropped off, and fucking... So we got it, and we were see that way when you get it, you're all looking at it like it's a fucking prize. So we'd like 5 eckies, a gram of prop, but the gram was wrapped in, see, like cling film, but it was tightly wrapped, so it was very hard, it was solid. And he's like, fucking, let's see an eckie and all that, like this boy, Mal. And he's like, let's see that gram, let's see it, let's look at him. Like, and you going, and me and Stug, we've ended up taking my eckie and all that shit. And I was like, right, where's the gear? And he's like, I've not got it. I was like, I fucking just geed you. He's like, no, you never. And I was like, man, fucking gee's the gear. He's like, mate, you never fucking geed me. And we're turning this room upside down. Like, where the fuck is this gear? And I'm like, I geed him it. And then he's like, but we've all took our eckie. And I'm like, how the fuck can the gear just go missing? And when I've looked down, I was like, counting the eckies. So there was originally 5. And I could only see 3. And I'm like, did you take your eckie to Mal? And he's like, aye. And I was like, Stug, did you take yours? He's like, aye. And I'm like, well, I've took mine. How the fuck is there 3 left if we've all took one? Then it dawned on me. I was like, you swallowed that gear, you fucking idiot. Because the gear was so compact, it was solid. And he was like, no. I was like, mate, you swallowed that. And then he's like, no way I could have. So we've literally stripped his room. It was a wee fucking box room. We've stripped it to the bare bones. We're flipping mattresses. We're pulling bed sheets off. We're turning pillows inside out. And I'm like, you've swallowed this, you fucking fool. So we've realised, we need to get that out, you mate. That's a gram of prop in his gut. Like, we need to get this out, this cunt. So I had him in the toilet. And I had a toothbrush in my hand. And I was trying to get my whitey, so I was sticking the toothbrush down his fucking throat. I was like, mate, you need to get that out, you the no. I was like, the no. And we're trying, and he was like, so I'm standing like pure trying to will this cunt like a fucking coach. Like, get it out, you. And he's like, but he's like, I can't do it. I was like, mate, do it, get it done. So I've ended up going like, fucking bams, you fucking idiots and that. And I've stormed out the toilet, and I've ended up down the stair with his dad. And his dad was a mad cunt that took gear and that. So I was down the stair in the kitchen with his dad, pure bad mouthing him. Like, he's swallowed that gear, this fucking idiot, we've got nothing. He's a fucking bat, this and that. Then all I've heard is his name up, still like, yes! And I was in mid-convo with his dad, and I sprinted out the kitchen, fucking ran up the stair, ran the room, and he was stoning. They were just standing next to each other like that, and he was looking at me, and I looked down at his horn, and there was this wee like orange ball in his horn. It was a gear. It had like, a bit of stomach acid on it. He'd got it out, man. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. It was like it was like finding Pandora's box or some shit like that. Oh, it was fucking, see that where you're just like, because after, you know what it's like waiting in a bit of gear to get dropped off? That fucking tension, like fucking, the small talk until it happens, and it comes in, you're buzzing, yes, it's there, and then that cunt fucking swallowed it. So it was emotional, man, but I ended up a bit wild. It was fucking, I remember at one point I'd counsel, this is before that, I'd counsel and we were crushing up eckies and counsel and putting them in vapes and smoking them. It was piping, man, I would not recommend it. But I been in some sticky situations, but I remember probably the latest fucking mental bender. I ended up in Amsterdam in like 2019, and I went with 2 boys, and I'll call one Hat and one Dull, Hat and Dull, and we went, man, and the plan was, so I'd get the jail, I'd get arrested for something. I was on the run for a shoplifting and getting caught with a blade. That happened in 2018, but I never get arrested for it to 2019, so I was on the run for a year. So for a full year, I couldn't leave the country. So when I did get arrested, I got bail. Fucking shockingly, I get bail, and so I was like, I'm booking a fucking holiday. So these 2 boys, they were going to like Amsterdam. It was like the September of that year. And I was like, fuck it, I'll go to the dam, because I puffed at that time. So I was like, man, no, I've got a reason to go to the dam. So I went. Booked up with them. They were going together. They had like a hotel booked and all that. But I was like, I'll just tag along with you, man. I'll fucking hire a hostel or something. But I ended up going and ended up just shacking up with him. The hotel they stayed in, it was weird. It was like something like Harry Potter. So the rooms were behind like a bookcase. So see, like in a library, you've got like a bookcase. That was like the doors, but there was actual books on it. It was freaky as fuck. There was like mad minibuses. Like, oh, it was mental. So the first night, the first day, like the day we were leaving at like 11 in the morning. Say it was 11 in the morning. I don't know if it was, but so we met up at my pal's house at 8 in the morning. He'd went and get like a grandma prop and all that, man. We got a booze and all that. And we had an online check-in, so it meant we didn't need to check in. We just had to go through and get right to the gate. So we were like, right, we've got time. Fucking Mike's day, man. So we're like, right, we've got time. So we had time to fucking sit and sniff gear and drink fucking bucky and all that. Then like an hour before like the flight was meant to go, we jumped a taxi. So we're all pure charging it. It's like 9 in the morning. We've got to the airport and we've ended up getting stuck in fucking the security bit. See the bit where you go through and you put your bags through and all that, the scanner. And they've ended up coming up to us like, listen, there's no point in you going through. You've missed your flight, the gate's shut. And we're like, no way. So we went down the stair to like the fucking like the front desk bit and like, right, when's the next flight to Amsterdam? And like the next flight's at 5 o'clock, but it's in Edinburgh. And we're like, fucking hell. So this is the thing as well. This is how piping it is. One of the boys, Hat, he's a big stoner, but he's fucking docile as fuck. He fucking forgets shit all the time. We turned up at the airport and he had a bag on him. It had like fucking 3 score bags in it. He didn't realise. So he was running up. There was bits where there's cameras and that, and he was stashing it behind the cameras. So before we went into the airport. So on the way back out, he was jumping back up and grabbing them back. It was piping. It was a disaster for the get-go. So we got a taxi back to the gaff. And I think it might have been the same taxi driver that took us. But I was kind of buzzing because I was like, yes, I can go back and finish that gear. That was the way I was at that point. So one of my pals, he was like, listen, I'll drive you through, because I told him the story, and he's like, listen, I'll drive you through to Edinburgh. So he took us to Edinburgh, and we get dropped off at the airport, out bush, and my pals left. Then the boy Dollar was with, he realised he'd left his passport in his motor, so they couldn't have to come back, and we were going through the fucking, getting the bag scanned, and there was like fucking cans of bevy in one of their bags, just shit like that. We were just a fucking walking disaster. And eventually, we've got in the flight, we've made it to Amsterdam. But at that point, I'm like, we've been up sniffing gear all day, and we had that period. I know having anything, so by the time we got there, we're like, fucking pure rattling. So we've ended up getting something out of his mad cunt. You know what it's like earlier? You fucking end up fucking snorting fucking bath salts, cunts are doing you, man. So we're kicking about, man. On it, fucking, I'm pure par out my nut. And we're stoating about, fucking. And I ended up fucking going with this mad hooker. I went with one. I just ended up, I think I get pulled in. See that way they pure trying to lure you in. I ended up in with one. And she basically fucking took us for a ride, fucking financially. Bumped us like €120. It was like the last money I had on us. And then she popped us out. And fucking, so I was like, what the fuck? So I walked around the corner and ended up seeing this other one. And she shouted it in, and she was like, I'm €40 an hour, so you can imagine, like, the rest is like 120, she was like 40. And I only had 20 on us. And I was like, fuck's sake. So I ended up tapping one off a cunt, tapped my score off a cunt, and I went in with her, and I was at my bush. I was trying to winch her and all that, man. I was trying to lick her out and all that. And fucking, and she was obviously, thank fuck, no having it. But, fucking, I was like, I'm coming back here to shag you for nothing and that. Pure out my fucking skull. So I ended up waking up the next day, had fuck all, was sitting trying to message cunts to send us more money. And the next day, we were only there for 3 days. Next day, I was a wee bit rough. So I didn't really drink much the next day. And the last night, well, I could just have a couple. You know what it's like? Last night, I'm no ripping the cunt the last night. And the last night, man, what did we do? We ripped the whole of it. So when we went, we'd booked the holiday. But this was when Rangers ended up playing Feyenoord. Is it Feyenoord, if I'm right? But that got announced after we booked it. So we, coincidentally, ended up in Amsterdam the same time as all these Rangers fans. So it was jumping with Scottish cunts. Met a few cunts, man. We're kicking about in that, man. And I ended up getting a fucking gram off some cunt. And it was this rocket fuel shit, man. Sniffed some it, and I was just what about that red light district, pure par out my nut, going to just thinking cunts are looking at us, cunts are going to try and rob us and all that shit. Because in the first night we ended up arguing with a cunt, my pal, one of the boys. We ended up, and this is the first night I'm getting back to, we ended up in the red light district at like 4 in the morning, see when everywhere was shut. And we're like, what the fuck? What would just stoating about, and he was trying to get a bit of pollen, a fucking pimp or something like that. And then, you know what they're like, see if you say if you go to this, they'll say, we've got it, moan, and they've no got it, they're trying to get you to go with them. And then he's ended up whipping out a €50 note, and then you might have seen them, man, it was like all looking at each other. So, they were trying to get it off him and all that, man, and I was pure mad with it. He's like, no, get the fucking pawn out, nah. And we've ended up pure, this mad argument, and then we've ended up trying to walk around the corner, and they're walking ways, but they're kind of following us. And we found one of these bike taxi cunts, and we're trying to get in it, and this cunt's like, it's trying to fucking, can I get a bit wide? And like, get to fucking on. And it was a pure standoff, but bearing in mind, this is like 4 in the morning, and like the pure deepest part of the fucking city, and it was dodgy, man. But the wee cunt, we ended up jumping the taxi, and they couldn't get off, man, which was good, thank fuck. So we ended up fucking getting to jail there and fuck it, man. But, so the last night, we ended up fucking full of ching stoating about, man. Then ended up fucking getting back to the hotel, and I was still fucking, pure out my bush. So we were still just sitting up, and I was heavy on the chase, man. And I was like, I'd got a number off CD bike taxi guys. They basically were giving his number, saying I would sell Charlie and all that, man, just to give us a shout. So I've ended up messaging one of them, and bearing in mind, this hotel we were in was miles away from like the town centre. And it was fucking pissing it rain. So the cunt's been end up coming all the way down, and he's been trying to phone us, but I've no noticed. And then I've noticed like, fuck, he's outside. And when I've went down, man, it is absolutely heaving it down. It is torrential. And the cunt's done across like that, like, what the fuck, man? And he's fucking gone nuts. He was going mental. And we've ended up grabbing the gear off and went back up the stair and sniffed it, and I'm like, that gear's shite. So I messaged him like, your gear's fucking shite. And he was fucking raging, man. Apparently it was good gear, man, but I think I was just that fucking wired, know what I mean? It was like, you could have given me 100% Colombian pure, and I'd have been like, that's pash. But, so, we've ended up staying up all night, and bearing in mind, the flight was meant to leave at like 11 in the morning. So, one of my pals, he's kind of like, listen, we can't go to sleep now, because we'll sleep in. We'll just stay up. So we stayed up, and we've ended up fucking marching back into like the town centre like 8, 9 in the morning. Pure like that. Fucking see that way, been up all night full of gear, and oh my god. And we've went to the Bulldog bar. Went back there, like, listen, we'll sink a few pints, that'll square us up. And we've ended up in there. And fucking, don't get me wrong, this is when there's a lot of Rangers fans in and all that kind of stuff, so eventually, me and the other boy, one of the other boys, Dull, he's ended up fucking, two of us end up mad with it. And our pal Hattie's like, right, we need to go, mate. Are we getting this? We need to go and get this flight. And I'm like, and my Dull's like, man, we'll just stay. We'll just get somewhere, we'll get money, and we'll stay in Amsterdam. And I went, no, that's a fucking good idea, man, we'll stay. So my boy Hattie's like, right, I'm leaving you then. I'm no staying. I need to go. We need to go. I'm leaving without you then if he's on the gone. So he left. So it just left the two of us. We were in this pub, and I'm kicking about with my fucking suitcase and all that, man. And we were wrecked and like that, right? And we're trying to message cunts to send us money and all that. We had nothing. We didn't have a fucking penny of our name. So we end up going and stoating about Amsterdam, pure out bush, and end up at this bar with all these Rangers fans and that. And I just remember I don't remember, I was eating a lasagna. I think it was. I got this lasagna for somewhere, and I just remember, this was like early morning still, getting into early afternoon. I just remember waking up, and it was night. And see that way, I just woke up, and I tell a lie, seen before that, like, we went to this bar, and we'd been there a few more hours. My pal, he FaceTimed us, and we'd answered it, and he was in his house, and we'd just seen his wallpaper behind him, and I think the two of us kind of were like, what the fuck have we done? So I've ended up crashing out at this table at this bar, out in the street, and woke up, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, see that way, I'd immediately sobered up, rough as fuck, man, pure done in, and I was like, what the fuck have we done? And my pal Dill, he was still kind of buzzing, kind of mad, mate, like, but it's moan, we're going to a gaff, and I'm like, mate, we need to go home, mate, what the fuck have we done? And he's like, come on, and I was like, mate, my glasses were broken, I smashed my glasses. I was like, mate, we need to go, are you coming? We need to go. And he's like, I'm staying. And I was like, see you later, mate. I fucking walked away. I was fucking raging. I went and get the train. I had to go and find the train station and get the train to the airport. And I eventually found it. I got the train to the airport, still lying fucked like, what the fuck, man? And I've got to the airport, and I'm like, right, much is it a flight to Glasgow? And like, there's one flight going back tonight, and it's £700. And I didn't have fuck all. I didn't even have a score, and I was like, what's he? Because all the Rangers fans were there. The flights, prices of the flights had went up. And I remember I was messaging every cunt. I was like, somebody needs to try and get me a flight. And my brother was looking online, fucking to the rescue. And he's like, right, I've managed to get you a flight, but it doesn't leave till like 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is like 9 o'clock at night. He's like, and it's a connecting flight. So it's a flight to Milan in Italy. Then you need to get a connecting flight to Edinburgh. So I was like, get it, man, I'll pay you back. So fucking, I've had to stay in the airport that night. My phone cut out a battery. So, bear in mind that I'm rough, I'm fucked. So I've ended up going down to the shop that sell chargers, and it was shut to the morning. So I had to go and sleep outside the shop. And there was these wee kind of, it was like seats, but they were like benches. You ever seen the seats in a train where it's got a cushion, but then it's got like two wee plastic rivets, so you can't lie across it. So that's what I had to kind of lie on it. It was fucking agony. I was trying to get juice because I was pure dehydrated, and I couldn't hold anything down. Anytime I took a drink, I was waiting. I was lying there, I pure couldn't sleep. Oh, it was fucking torture. And see that way, it was just a pure broken sleep all the way through the night. And I was just lying there like, I think I was greeting at one point. I was like, fuck this, I can't do this, man. Because I was so fucked and just in another country, fucking no money, pure like helpless. The next days came, and I've had to go and get a charger because I get sent, so it was, see the boarding pass, it was like an e-ticket. So I had to get my phone in charge to fucking get out of there. So I went and bought a charger, I went and sat and charged it, and it was one of the chargers that took fucking ages to charge it. And then I was going back and forward. I couldn't get so I went to the shop that sell the chargers. They printed off like e-tickets, but for whatever reason, I was trying to send him this e-ticket and it wasn't coming through. So I had to go and send the e-ticket to some cunt back in Scotland for them to send it in. And then I eventually got it. And I was like, right, then I went and fund the gate, got in the flight, and I was like, thank fuck. And the flight was full of Rangers fans, so they were obviously getting the same flights. So it was quite alright seeing Scottish cunts and that, man. But got the flight to Milan, and then I'm like, right, where the fuck do I go for here? So we've got to fucking Milan, and it's like, I'm walking about, it was all in Italian, all the writing, all the signs, it was no English. And there was these group of Rangers fans, and I just followed them. I was just looking at the Rangers taps, and I was like, I'm following these cunts. And I honestly did not have a clue where the fuck I was going. I was like, I'm getting lost here. And eventually, I followed them to a bus stop, and it turns out there's two terminals at this airport in Spain. So we were at one terminal. You had to get on a bus and get a bus to another terminal. So I had to go and get this bus. Jump in that. Bear in mind, I had no idea where the fuck I'm going. I'm just following these cunts. Go the bus to the other terminal, and then go there. Then it was a fucking. Eventually, I had to go and get I went to go through like the security control thing, and I didn't have the tickets. I only had like the wee message, and I had to go and get it printed off and all. You're literally running for like one fucking plane to another. Eventually, go in the plane like, thank fuck, man. See that way, anybody knows it's ever been in this situation. See when you're trying to catch a flight and you just sit your ass in the seat when you know you're there, you're like, thank fuck. So the flights took me to Edinburgh, and I've got to Edinburgh. I'm like, alright, how do I get back from here? But there's a bus that takes you from Edinburgh Airport right to Buchanan bus station. So once I got in that, it was one of the mad night buses. See, and I've got a kind of similar bus quite often now. But see, you just jump on, it's nice and cozy, and I was just like that. See, being back in Scotland, it was like the middle of September, fucking freezing, and I loved it. And we got in the bus, took me back to Buchanan bus station, and I messaged Hat. He drove at the time, and I'd been talking to him back and forward, and what it turns out, when I got the flight to Milan, Dull, the guy I left in Amsterdam, he's obviously had the realisation hit him no long after it's hit me, yet he was stuck in a country with no money, nothing. So he's managed to get a flight to Birmingham, right? And so I think we left the same day. He got a flight to Birmingham, and fucking, I don't know if he got a flight from Birmingham to Glasgow or a train, but he managed to get back to Glasgow just a couple of hours before me. So by the time I've got back, I've been heading back to Glasgow, Dill and Hat are together, because Dill get papped at the house for fucking patched the flight home, so he was fucking papped at the house. And I says to Hat, "What, to come pick us up from Buchanan bus station?" He's like, "Aye, no bother." And this is like I think it might have been was it a Friday night? Aye, Friday night. So it was like 9 o'clock. I've got back at Buchanan bus station, and they're waiting for us across the road. And when I've got out, I've literally got out and kissed the ground. I was just so happy to be home. And Dull, he's got out the van, and the two were wearing the same clothes we'd left each other in. We just looked at each other and just pure hugged each other in this mad embrace. It was fucking, oh my god, we're just like, what the fuck, man? What is the matter with us fucking pair of fannies? And I get home, get dropped off, and it was the night, I don't know if it was the night it came out, but it was the week that The Irishman came out. I just went home, got a big pizza, I got a wash. I got a wash and seen my own bed, my own room. Oh my god. See, after that, anybody that's ever been in that situation where you've patched a flight or you've missed your flight and you've been stuck in another country, you need to fanny about. And it's been that situation when you see your house, your street, your room. Oh, it's heavenly, man. Oh my god, man. So I went home, fucking got a wash, got a pizza and chilled, and it was fucking bliss. But aye, some mad shit. And now I don't drink anymore, so now you know why. But I hope you've enjoyed my Sesh stories. I've got plenty more, but these are the ones that are most memorable. But any more suggestions on what kind of content you'd like to see, what you'd want me to chat about, man, comment down below, man. Get creative. But in the meantime, people, like, subscribe, don't get wide. Catches.